Hello and welcome back. Again, my name is Colton. If you watched my first video, my surroundings might look a little bit different, and that is because I have moved. I was living in Massachusetts before, living in my parents' basement, and now I'm living in upstate New York in something like a 4,000 square foot apartment. And it is a lot of house for one person, but it gives me a lot more space to do my woodworking. All of my tools are permanently kind of set up and accessible now, which feels absolutely amazing, and it's going to increase productivity a lot. In addition to that, well, more because of that, I should actually be able to produce a lot more content now. Thinking about getting a camera set up when I still had to set up and break down my tools at the end of the day, it would have really reduced my productivity, and I don't think it would have been worth it. But now that I have a lot more space, everything is permanently set up, I should be able to spend a lot more time making content for YouTube. So yeah, let me give you a look around. Over here we have a bench that was here when I moved in. This is going to be what I'm using temporarily, at least. Couple decorations on the wall. Saw, router table. A lot of my tools that I don't use very often are down in that chest there, which was also here when I moved in, which is pretty cool. A shave horse that I built. I just built this portable miter saw stand with wings. I still gotta build wing supports for that, but I just built that within the first couple days here. So this project was actually the first project I completed within the walls of this new shop. So that's exciting. Got my speaker set up, that's essential. I think I have 3 total shop vacs here. 1 under there, 2 over here, so I should be able to keep this place nice and tidy, especially with this dust collector, which I still have to set up. I've only been here for a week, and this place has needed a lot of work. Router sled, over here, all finishes, spray paints, rags, tape, glue. Scroll saw, a little belt sander, palm sander, another sander in the back. There I have my branding iron, circular saw, angle grinder, a bunch of kind of random stuff on top of the toolbox. Have my chisels in that box there, kind of more sanding stuff. But again, I just kind of moved into this place, and I'm still, I know I said before everything was permanently set up, but what I meant by that was everything is in one room. I still have to get kind of hooks on the walls, more stuff like this. Maybe I'll get that shelving unit set up somewhere here, but I've only been able to spend really the past couple days in this shop because this entire place has needed so much work. And that kind of leads me into my next point. This place is something like 4,000 square feet. I'm down here in the basement right now, which is huge and honestly a little bit creepy. But it is what it is, make it work. And then it has 3 floors up above me. I've completely sealed off the 3rd floor because I don't really need to use it. And I've sealed off like half of the 1st floor because it's just too much space for me to live in and try to even keep clean. So 1st floor, I have the kitchen, a bathroom, and then I head upstairs into my bedroom and kind of my living area. But like I mentioned before, this place needed a lot of work. It was severely neglected by several of the previous tenants, or people who lived here, I should say. But I've spent the last week cleaning this place up and just kind of mentally taking note of what I can to kind of fix this place up, because it is huge. It has a lot of potential, great bones. I know everybody says that, but this place was built in the 1890s, I think, and it's got a lot of history to it. I won't go too far into it, but it's a really historic building, and hardwood floors, intricately carved staircase, all that kind of stuff. And I feel very fortunate to live here, but again, it needs a lot of work. That that entails kind of cleaning cat piss out of hardwood floors or replacing them, amongst a great deal of many other things. Fortunately, I have 4 or 5 years of remodeling experience from working with my brother. So I have a decent amount of knowledge in that kind of wheelhouse. I don't really know anything about plumbing or electricity, but cosmetically, when it comes to making this place look good, I think I can do a lot of good. And as far as plumbing and electrical work, I don't think there's a whole lot that needs to be done. So I think with a little bit of time and a little bit of elbow grease, this place is going to be looking pretty beautiful. But that kind of leads me into my next point. I think for at least a temporary amount of time, I will be also using this channel as a little bit of a home improvement channel. So that'll be, I think the first thing that I'm probably going to tackle is underneath the sink there was a leak, so I'm gonna try to replace the plumbing myself, do a little bit of learning there, and then replace the whatever you call the shelving under there, because it was all rotted out. But between my woodworking experience, my remodeling experience, and all of the tools and material I have here, that should be a breeze. The plumbing is going to be the hard part. So, yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. This video is going to be about building a shelf. And I'll show you up here. I just built this little shelf here in the past hour or so, and I'm going to be building another one just like it, maybe a little bit nicer, out of this half a tabletop kind of thing. And hopefully once I'm done with it, it'll look a lot nicer than this. But right now it's looking pretty rough. So I think a good sanding, run through the table saw, throw some brackets on her, maybe a stain, call it a day. Here I am running this old tabletop through the table saw. Wanted to get a nice flat edge on the back of this shelf, and I wanted a nice even thickness front to back for the shelf. Gave it a nice sanding. Won't make you sit through all of that, but it is just going to be a shop shelf, so all I did was a quick pass at 80 grit and a quick pass at 120 grit. Didn't bother with water popping or anything like that. The stain that I'm using here is Varathane Provincial, I think is how you say it, which I picked because I thought it was going to come out a lot darker. I thought I was going to hide that pitting quite a bit better that you might be able to see, but overall I didn't think it was too bad. I think it came out looking rustic, which fortunately quite a few people do still like. I probably could have left the stain in, let it soak for a while, and then wipe off the excess. That probably would have gotten me a darker result, or I could have done a second coat. Here I am marking where I want the brackets 6 inches from the edge, pre-drilling my first hole, getting that screw in there, letting my camera fall, and pre-drilling and screwing my second hole. I did the same thing on the other side. So you may have noticed that I was having a little bit of trouble getting those brackets onto the shelf, and that's going to come up here again in a second. But what I did was I held this shelf up in place where I wanted it to be, marked where I needed one pencil or one screw hole to be, took the shelf down, got that hole pre-drilled with a masonry bit, put the shelf back up, and then used one Tapcon to hold it in place. I just let it hinge. While I got the second hole pre-drilled, I used my torpedo level to make sure it was nice and level for that second hole. Got that second hole pre-drilled, second Tapcon screwed in, and I'll let future me explain what happened next. All right, so here's the situation. I got the brackets onto the shelf, and then I got the bottom screws into, or I got one hole pre-drilled for the bottom screw over here because I knew where I wanted the shelf to be. Took the shelf down for the pre-drilling so it was going to be easier. Pre-drilled that one hole, put the shelf back up, then I got this one screw back in. Then I put my level up here, got this set, and pre-drilled this hole and sent this screw in. I'm using Tapcons, by the way. And then I got up to the hard part. There are these sort of decorative support arches here up under these brackets, and they get right in the way of this top screw, or screw hole. So what was happening is the screws would get in about that far, and because they were torqued so far, I guess, the impact gun wouldn't even send them in. So I tried using a ratchet, and what happened over here is the head just snapped right off, and it feels like that's what happened over here too, because I can just free spin it with my hand. So tell you what, the sun's going down. It doesn't look like it, but it is starting to get pretty dark. I'm starting to get hungry and a little bit frustrated, so I'm going to go make some dinner, and I'll probably come back to this tomorrow. All right, so new day, refreshed patience. What I've done so far is I've gotten the shelf down off the wall, got those brackets off of the shelf. I considered taking my angle grinder and just cutting off these supports, but I'm not sure how structural this brace will be without it. And then I started considering the price of a brace in general. So I'm gonna forget about those. Picked up these other braces from Lowe's, which are identical to the one that I used on this shelf. So I know they're gonna be fine for what I'm using them for. I'm going to scooch these braces in about 1 inch, just so the holes aren't interfering with each other. And then I am going to try to get it set back up. Fingers crossed. Okay, so have the new brackets installed on the shelf 1 inch further inside than the decorative brackets were. I have a line marked out roughly where I want the bottom of this shelf to be. So what I have to do now is the same exact process where I did before. I have to figure out where my first hole is going to be, mark it with my pencil, take the shelf off, and pre-drill that hole with my masonry bit. All right, so here I have it installed. Didn't have any issues with these brackets. Go figure. I can wiggle it a little bit if I really put some pressure on it, but I'm really not worried about it. I think these screws are gonna hold just fine. Even with all this stuff on it, this toolbox, or this storage thing is pretty heavy, but that's probably not gonna be a permanent space for it. I'm just trying to get everything set up at the moment. I wanted these shelves set up pretty high in case I wanted to eventually get a rack like this set up underneath them. So that's why I ended up going so high with them. I also just thought maybe there might be something else I want to stick underneath them at some point that I don't want them to interfere with. So that's where they ended up. All right, so pretty easy build and install. Pretty basic shop shelf, wasn't worried about perfect flatness or joining against the wall or anything like that. Maybe on like an interior wall that I'm gonna be looking at all the time and I want it to really look nice, I would be scribing the wall, doing something like that, making sure that edge fits perfectly. Not all walls are flat, most walls are not flat, so getting that scribe, that profile of the wall, and then cutting that out instead of just running it through the table saw and getting a perfectly flat edge, that will go a long way in terms of kind of interior design. But again, this was a pretty simple build today, just a real easy shop shelf, but I think it's a good introduction to the kind of stuff that I'm going to be doing. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to be kind of introducing some house maintenance and home repair type of stuff into this channel, so hopefully I'll be able to kind of blend my woodworking into that in a way that fits well. So hopefully you enjoyed and maybe you even learned something. Thank you and have a good one.